Okay, let's get started. So thanks for coming in today and joining me for my sketchbook stuff. I know it's a hard time to come together because it's Christmas, and if I look tired, it's because I was up at 5 this morning.
4, actually.
Well, I was up at 4, but I went to work at 5 because I was framing, because I feel like one of Santa's elves in the frame shop trying to get everything done for Christmas. So anyway, it's a bit of a stressful time for me, so hopefully I can rest after Christmas. So, all right, I'm going to show you some of my sketchbooks, and like the sketchbooks to me are really important because I don't know, they're sort of the journey of my process and journey of me experimenting. So that's why I like the sketchbooks so much. Now, I don't know if I've told you my sketchbook story about my aunt, which was really cool, but I will tell it now just so that it's out there. So my aunt, when I was back in interior design, and I had to carry a sketchbook with me all the time because it was part of my training was to sketch a lot, and they graded me on my sketchbook. So I had to carry it around with me a lot. I went to a wedding and my aunt was staying in the same room as me. And one night, late at night, she picked up one of my sketchbooks and she started looking through it, and she really loved what she saw, and that was great. You know, it was nice to have somebody look through my sketchbooks and appreciate what I had done. Anyway, years go by and I'm working at TransCanada, and I'm not sketching as much anymore, and you know, I'm just working. Anyway, I go to visit my aunt, and on her coffee table there's sketchbooks, and I open up the sketchbooks and they're filled with all these wonderful drawings and doodles that she's done. And I'm like, oh, like, Annie Shirley, your sketchbooks are so beautiful. And she says, yes, well, you inspired me. And I was like,
Oh, wow.
And here I'd stopped sketching, and it was like, oh, and I was so taken with the fact that I had inspired her to do these sketchbooks, and they were so beautiful. And so after that trip, I went home and I started doing my sketchbooks again. And not only, you know, just drawing in sketchbooks, but also making them to more of a journey for me, filling up the pages properly and using them as a reference for a lot of different things. I even got to a point where, you know, I have a sketchbook that I sketch in, and then I would have like little sketchbooks that I would carry in my purse. So quite often I'd be sitting on the LRT or something like that, and everybody'd be on their smartphones and I'd be sketching. And quite often in lineups, I would pull out open a book and I'd sketch, just do a quick sketch or something. And so that was really great. People who have seen me in some of my art groups know that I sit there the whole time and I sketch while people are presenting and stuff like that. But so I'm going to show you some of my sketchbooks here. And I think Bill's going to switch the camera view. And then I have a little exercise if you want to do something in your sketchbook. Now, Kelly, you know, we did these in the classes that I was teaching before. We made these little sketchbooks, and I would have my students make these sketchbooks before they, well, like at the beginning of the class, they would start to make these sketchbooks. And they're kind of fun because they were small and they only had like a few pages. There's that snowflake I did. Mm-hmm. They would only have a few pages, but it would be enough for them to do the stuff that we were doing in class and leave them lots of blank pages so that they could do some of their own stuff and extra sketches and stuff like that without being a huge thing. I would love to be able to show you guys how to do bookbinding. I just don't know how easy it would be to do it over over the camera here, but that would be a really fun thing to do, is bookbinding, because right now the books that I make,
show the different books.
Well, these are all just the books for the classes that I did, you know, because every time I did a class, I would have them make a new book. So, but then I also was teaching a bookbinding class, and this is the kind of book that I would make for that bookbinding class. And it was kind of fun to sort of make these little books and do that kind of thing. Anyway, I don't know if we'll be able to fit that in or do something with that, but all right. So with my sketchbooks, one of the things, because I carried my sketchbooks around with me a lot, it became more and more important for me to make sure that I didn't lose my sketchbook. Hi, Elizabeth. So this is one of my sketchbooks that I would take. I mean, it's not the one that I would carry in my purse, but it's one that I would take with me. And you can see just by the mess is, I'm sitting there, I'm probably sitting at an art show and I'm working on my cards because I make a lot of cards when I'm sitting at shows. So that's probably the result of that. But one of the things I did, and this is why I did this, was because I was so worried about losing my sketchbook. I need to, I'm getting a lot of noise coming in. Elizabeth, can you put your mic on mute? Bill's going to mute you.
Right there?
Yeah. There we go. Okay. Sorry, Elizabeth, had to mute you because I'm getting background noise from you. So anyway, so one of the things about a sketchbook is when you open a brand new sketchbook and it's all nice and clean, and you have that first page staring at you. And it's the same thing that artists sometimes come across when they start a new canvas. That big blank canvas can be very intimidating. Same with the sketchbook. That first page can be super intimidating. And there's nothing worse than doing a picture on that first page and then it not working out. And then that's the first thing that everybody sees when they open up your sketchbook. So I decided to go around that by putting my name and my phone number so that if I lost my book, I could get it back. Somebody could phone me or whatever. So that's what my first page is always in my sketchbooks. It's now my title page. Now that's changed over the years because I just did this just so people would contact me. But now it's like, oh, now I doodle them. Or now it's a picture or something, or it's a lot of doodling. So, even in my little ones, it's not beautiful, but, I do little things in there. So that's always going to be my first page. Now, the other thing with the sketchbook that I find is that, again, it can be intimidating trying to fill all the pages. So the other thing I do is I also work from the back of the book. So here's my back page. I think I was just testing out some pens and it turned into kind of a graffiti page. It's kind of neat, eh? Anyway, sometimes I'll write notes about what I'm doing. Like if I'm planning a class or if I'm sitting here and I'm listening to somebody who's talking about art, I'll write notes about it. Or if I'm attending a seminar or something like that, or if I need to write notes or I'm trying to figure something out, or if I have inspirations that I find, I start putting those in from the back so that I just have all these notes, and it could be ideas that I've come up with or things that I'm planning, and this is kind of like my messy drawings, right? They're just, you can see they're super sketchy, super messy and fast. And it's just usually me just sort of making notes. This is my friend Carol who passed away. So this is, me just putting her in my book. And so sometimes I do that. If I find little pieces of something, I might put them in my book and that kind of thing. So this is mostly my planning. So I start sketching from the one side and I put notes and stuff on the other side, which is really great because then as I'm filling up the book, I meet in the middle and I'm not left with 2 or 3 pages at the end of the book and I just want to get on to the next book. So anyway, so in my book, and I think I talked about it last week, I'm very careful about the books that I choose. I have to have a paper that's a little bit harder or a little bit thicker, just because I am doing stuff with paint and I'm doing stuff with glue and all sorts of different types of things. And I talked to you last week about these books at Michael's. This is one of the Michael's books, and they come in all sorts of nice colors. I was just actually showing it to somebody today, and they're like $8.99. They're just the best. They're such a good deal, right? And like for $8.99, and I can paint in them, and they take the paint very well. I mean, they're not for watercolor, and they get kind of warped and thick, but that's okay. So some of these things, quite often when I'm working in my sketchbook, is I might be trying something out, like trying out, this is a monoprint. So turned out really beautiful, right? This could be a card or something on its own. And this is something that I want to teach you guys. Oh, so if you're watching this, what you need to start saving is the bottom of your styrofoam meat trays or takeout trays. You want those sheets of styrofoam, okay? I have to get a list of stuff for you to start scratching.
I'm gonna teach this one later.
Hello. Anyway, so there's lots of different things. Sometimes I'm looking at different things that I might find on Pinterest and stuff like that, and I'm just trying to see if they work, or I'm doodling. So not everything has to work. And it could be I'm trying out a brush and there's some things that I just want to do and scooch around and experiment. Like I must have had ink. So I did some ink stuff and then I sprayed this one with water, and that, you know, just to see what the effects will do on the paper, and kind of neat. This is me again planning. I had a big commission that I was working on. So these are some of the sketches, my starting sketches for that commission, as I was trying to come up with sort of a graffiti style of work. And so I might do tons of these little thumbnail drawings. As you can see, there's lots of them. And those are really fast and quick to do. And sometimes I just enjoy sort of putting them together like that. And then, you know, like I look back at them and I see things like, oh, I really like those. You know, I have another commission I have to do with graffiti, and I'm like, ooh, maybe that's my inspiration. I got calculations in here. I've got pen and ink things that I've done. Again, working on school projects or classes that I was teaching, and I was teaching kids actually at one point in my home, and that kind of stopped, but because there's a bylaw around that. So anyway, and so sometimes I just write, sometimes I do just goofy things. And so, and not every page has to work out, and not every page has to be a piece of artwork. You know, this is glued in on this page. So I think that the ink went through, and so sometimes I end up doing stuff on other pieces of paper. So I just glue them in so that it's in my sketchbook. And you can see I was really, really working that graffiti angle because I was really trying to come up with some really cool graffiti styles and even graffiti letters. And I started working on those to work into my projects. And this is collage. So I put, you know, paper and glued it all on and pressed it into my book. So it's super flat. But this is a coffee filter. You do fun things with coffee filters other than drink coffee. So I do lots of thumbnail sketches. These are just fast little sketches that can warm me up and get me ready to do art. And we're going to do something like that. Sometimes I do full-blown sketches or doodles. This is in my coloring book. If you guys are interested, I believe it's on the site, isn't it? Is our coloring book still on the site? So I did a whole bunch of Zen Doodle pieces, and they are available for you to download and color. I believe it's $3 or $4.
Not very much, yeah.
Yeah, it's like 25 pictures that I've drawn that you're welcome to download, and then you can print them over and over and over again. My dad has colored every single one of mine, which is funny because he thinks that he taught me how to color too. So sometimes it's gluing a piece of paper into the book and then building on that. And again, I tend to work mostly in an abstract way. Or sometimes I'm planning. Again, this is another project that I was planning on. It was a full life size horse that got delivered to my house, and I had to paint him. And he was all white. And I think I have pictures of him. Here he is in my living room. Like that's how he started. And so I took this picture and then I used it to trace it into the book so that I come up with some sort of idea about how I was going to paint that horse, and thinking about the clients and stuff like that. He did not end up like this. He's on my website, and He's called Freedom's Journey. That was a fun project. So again, more doodling, lots of, again, projects that I was trying out for some of the classes. I love doing big ugly fish. That's what that is. There. See, big ugly fish. So, could be little drawings, little sketches, or collage, planning, writing. So this is a good sketchbook because it has lots of ideas, and you can see I've filled up a lot of pages, you know, doing drawings. Quite often I do like doing drawings of mountains and stuff like that, but they're always in an abstract way. But I don't paint them. And it's just sketching after sketching. And sometimes even if you just pick up your book and you're sketching, you know, just trying something out, like this is not a great presentation page, but it's something I was working on. And I like some of the lines that I have going there, but it's not a very polished page. And sometimes I'm just trying out a new stamp or something that I've created. This is probably a stencil that I've sprayed up here. This is all tape because I don't throw anything out. So sometimes it makes it into my book and then it's not just, you know, just sitting there. So sometimes it doesn't work out, right? Like this is horribly ugly to me. Oh, well, on to the next. It's not a big deal, right? So if you make a mistake on your book or something doesn't work out the way you want it, that's okay. There's one of my coloring pages that I colored. This is me trying out lemon juice. So lemon juice and then sort of burning it, I guess, heating it up or whatever. Didn't work so well, so I didn't do much with that. But so you can see that I've got all sorts of things. This is coffee filters again, and then I've colored into it with pencil crayon. And drawings, alcohol inks, that's something I'll be showing you guys eventually. Lots of drawings. It's funny because I do like going out and drawing out in nature, but I don't really like painting out in nature because my paint dries too fast. And the bugs get in my paint. I don't like that because then I have to rescue them all. No, that's not fun. This is something I was trying. This is shaving cream and paint or coloring. I didn't like it. It was too smelly. Too shaving cream smelly. So you can see these are all just drawings I've done. This is a drawing of a painting. Quite often when I'm at a show, if I'm showing with other artists, if I see a painting that I like, I'll go and I'll draw their painting. And that's okay, because I can do that. I can copy, you can copy an artist and put it in your sketchbook. I'm not selling it, but it was a really cool drawing. I mean, she was at this place with this precarious rock. So lots of different things. And sometimes it's just a scribble, you know, but I can work back into it. Well, I also have been doing this. I have some books that are falling apart that I've been doing paintings on and things like that. So repurposing a book. And that would be something that, yeah, I might send. I'd love to send you guys pages so you could do some art with the pages. So I know this isn't very exciting, but anyway, and now I'm up to where this is where my sketchbook ends. And then my other stuff is caught up to it. So it's like, yay, sketchbook's over, next. So I have lots of these books, you know, some of them aren't done. You know, some of them, this is one that I was just working on a commission here, which I did. It was a painted guitar for an artist who just did a CD release, but this book is not done. You know, I've got some planning stuff that I'm doing. This is a drawing I did back in high school. So now it's in my sketchbook. So I have lots of blank pages in this one for me to work on. So this is one that I'm currently working on. Now the ones that I carry with me, they have all sorts of different sizes. And I do like the small ones. I have lots of sketchbooks that people have given me and stuff like that. So this isn't necessarily the kind of sketchbook that I would like because it's too small, but I sure filled it. Same thing. I have all my weird notes from when I was sitting in my art groups and stuff like that. So there's lots of weird notes in this. But then on this side, I've got, yep, there's Karen Biko. Then I've got all these little doodles that I've done and things that I've tried. Look at this thing. This is cut paper. And as you reveal each paper, it's just reveals whatever's underneath it. And it's tape. Anyway, so you can do things like that. Sometimes I paint, when I'm painting, I just clean my paintbrush in my book. I mean, I got paint on my brush anyway, might as well put it somewhere. So either I put it on another canvas or I put it in my book. And then when I'm sitting in an art group or sitting in a line at the grocery store and I have nothing to do, I can sit there and I can just add a few little doodles to it. Or I might find something interesting like this really cool sort of tape that I found. I think it's burned tape with some gold on it. Anyway, put it in there, played with it a little bit. And that's part of, you know, this sort of experiment of finding out, trying different things. I still do lots of thumbnail drawings, love doing them. Little doodles. Coloring. I have a little, oh look, here's some more of that. This is that lemon juice that I've burned and then I tried doing something else with it. That's actually turned out pretty good. I kind of like that one. Sometimes I date them, but not always. So that's 2015. But yeah, I don't know how to best show you all of this stuff in here. But sometimes I'll put found objects in there. So this is a little piece of metal or something. And then I put like some rags. There's a little bit of a wasp's nest right here. And I'm just putting them together. And it's, again, I'm just playing around. This is like one of those Starbucks coffee sleeves. Just ripped up and put in there, and then I colored and glued it all in there. Yeah, it's kind of ugly, but you just never know when it's going to work in a painting or be something that you want to work on. Quite often, if I have something like, I don't know, I got these goofy little stickers. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I like that little guy. I'm just going to put him in my sketchbook. Then he's safe. He's not just sitting nowhere. But then I started to, so my favorite sketchbooks that I mean, I like the Michaels ones. They're really great. But the one that I liked the best was the Robert Bateman books. And as you can see, I totally destroyed the cover of this. I'm not a huge Bateman fan, but that's just me. I appreciate what he does, but it's not my style. I think he does beautiful work, but I think he's got a lot of people that do stuff for him. So anyway, so this is one of my earlier books. And again, I haven't done much in there, but there's, you know, lots of ideas. This is probably one that I used for lots of ideas for my classes that I was teaching kids. We did this. This was fun, where you take a photocopy of yourself and then embellish it. So we did that with the kids, and that was kind of fun. We just, you know, took photos and changed them. Zen Doodles, which we'll probably end up doing quite a bit. Things like that. So yeah, this is a lot of projects that I would do with my students. And then this again is another Robert Bateman book, but I covered it. I covered the cover, so now it's my book. So, and again, lots of just different drawings. I'll do a drawing and then I might work back into it with paint, or I might do some paint and then draw back into it, and you just don't know. Doing little fast sketches of cats, using little extra pieces that I had sitting around that I thought were kind of interesting. Lots of these thumbnail drawings, which I'm going to show you a little bit about, trying out some different textures because I'm all about adding textures to my work and stuff like that. So doing a scribble and then changing it. Lots of Zen Doodles. Starting something and then just not finishing because I got bored. So there's lots of things you can do with these books. Then the little ones. And I also had a studio book. I'll show you this guy. This guy's really seen better days. But this was my studio sketchbook. So I would keep this in my studio. And then when I was cleaning my brushes and stuff like that, I would do things. Or if I was trying to plan out something, I would draw in it. Or if I had an idea of something, I would add to that book. And again, look, I was working on my signature. That's not at all what my signature is. So, but trying again, more doodles, trying different things, drawing different textures. A lot of cleaning my brushes here or just doing other things. Trying things out, trying out new tools, thinking about nothing. Starting something and then just not doing anything with it because I didn't know what to do with it. Or I went on to the next thing, right? Because sometimes new things are more exciting than things that you've been working on. So yeah, some of the pages are just like, this is not beautiful. This to me is like, ugh. But you know what? That's okay. And I don't have to love everything that's in my sketchbook. And, you know, if I was taking it apart, I might take those ones out because I don't like it. This is made up of a whole bunch of tiny little pieces of paper. There's these little tiny, I don't know why I did it. It's crazy. I think I had tweezers putting all of these little dots down, but that was 2010. Sometimes I do little sketches. I'm not very good at drawing people and stuff like that. So every once in a while I give it a try and then, well, I'll try and draw a horse and then I go, that's why I'm an abstract artist. Because I'm so good at drawing horses. I also do like the little Bateman books. Ugh. And I've used those for years and I just cover them. And these are the kind that I like to carry around in my purse. And again, I still have all my notes at the back. Sometimes the other thing that I keep at the back of my books are when I'm doing like fast sketches of people. I would do this if I was sitting in an airport or sitting where there's people sitting around, and I would do like these sort of, they're almost like a blind contour of these people sitting there because I had to draw it while they didn't know I was drawing them, because as soon as I figure out that I'm drawing them, then they want me to draw them and then I'm all nervous. So sometimes I would do these little thumbnail sketches of people just sitting at the airport. And then once they figured out what I was doing, I kind of had to move and go somewhere else. So lots of different ideas in these books. And then I started making, I started making larger sketchbooks for me to draw in. Just because I guess I've learned how to do the sketching. So I've been able to make my own sketchbooks and create, you know, some interesting things with some of those. And whether it's just a collage, this is a collage piece of a whole bunch of pieces of card that I cut up into pieces and put together. And sometimes it's just a goofy little drawing. So what I wanted to show you today was one of the tools that I have come up with for working in my sketchbook. I just got to remember which one I put it in. I think it was this one. Got a whole pile of them here. Okay. So one of the things I like to do is I like to do those thumbnails. So this is an easy way for you to do it. And now I made these out of mat board and I just cut 2 squares. I did a, you know, one that I could do landscape or portrait. And then I made a little pocket. I used an old envelope and just made a pocket in my sketchbook. So now those are there. And if I'm wanting to do like some little thumbnail drawings, I can do that, which I haven't actually done in this book. So something like that is very handy. I have another book. Oh, sometimes I do put like little envelopes at the back of my book where I'll put things that I'm working on that's maybe a separate piece of paper, like a card or something that I'm working on, and I'll just have it sitting there so that, you know, if I'm somewhere, I can open that card and work on it, or that piece of paper, or whatever. So I'm going to show you one other sketchbook. My mentor and the fellow who really had a huge impact on the fact that I'm an abstract artist is Bruce Head. And was a well-known artist in Winnipeg. And he actually lived across the street from me when I was a little girl. And when I started in my journey of abstract art, I realized that he had a huge impact on my work. And his family agrees that they see him in my work. So they gave me, he passed away several years ago, and I was given the honor to go and speak at his memorial service at the Winnipeg Art Gallery, which was very intimidating because there's all these gallery owners and here's just me. But it was really beautiful to go and do that. And his daughter, she was my best friend, my first best friend, I guess, when I was a little girl. She gave me one of his sketchbooks, which was great because I love sketchbooks, as you can see. But the thing about his sketchbook is it wasn't like mine where every page was filled. There was a lot of pages that had nothing on it, and it was an incomplete. It was not a great sketchbook. So what I decided to do was take apart the sketchbook and keep the elements that I wanted out of the sketchbook, which was just about every page. But now it's presented in a way that I can just these are his sketches, and not just his sketches, but his notes. I have no idea, like his writing was just amazing to me also. And his sketches, like they're just messy line sketches, but I see so much of his work and things that he was doing in these sketches. And I think they don't have to be perfect drawings. You know, look at how, like some of these are just like, this is a ballpoint pen. I'm sure he's just done this little scribble and it may mean nothing, but I can see the shapes of his work in there. I can see what he was doing. He did a lot of abstract landscape and stuff like that. So this to me is a huge treasure that she gave me, this sketchbook. And I can quite often look through it and see he's got all his weird notes here and stuff like that he's doing. And so amazing. I just love it. Anyway, so that was Bruce's sketchbook that I was able to get. And there's some pages had two things on both sides. So I wanted to make sure that I captured all that. And, you know, and he's some of them are signed. Some of them are just, he's cleaning his brush or, you know, using up the paint or something like that. Some of them are a little bit boobish. And look, tape. Where do you think I got the idea from? So here's one of his pieces at the Winnipeg Art Gallery. It's quite big. They're quite big. And so, so I created this book just to have sort of a memory of him. And so whenever my mom finds something about him, it all goes into this book. And that's his sketchbook. That's how I dealt with his sketchbook. Okay, so now for you guys, if you want to do a sketchbook exercise with me, I have this one that we could do that I thought would be kind of fun if you did the template. So where did I put mine? Sure, I just put it aside. All right. So you can just take your template and draw, like I would just draw a page of these little squares. Now you can use the inside square or you can use the outside square. It doesn't really matter, but I like the inside square. The reason that I like the inside square is I'll show you. When you do the inside square, let me grab the drawing again. Let's see if this one works. Okay. When you do an inside square, you can do something like this, where you do your square and then you can just scribble. And it's kind of nice because you don't go outside those lines. And then you all of a sudden have this really interesting scribble. Scribbling is a great thing to be able to do. I know artists who have a hard time scribbling and they're like, can you scribble for me, Karen? Because you can have really controlled scribbles or you can have just very free scribbles. I'm gonna try a different pen. So. And maybe you're listening to music and that helps you change your scribble. But, and then, you know, even if this is something that you're just trying to say, do a sketch every morning or something like this, maybe this is something you can do every morning, just to do a page of scribbles, and that might motivate you. I know a lot of artists, some friends of mine who are artists, they've looked through my books and they're just like, oh, you could do a whole book on just, you know, your thumbnail drawings, because there's lots of composition ideas about this. And this is maybe that what you're doing, right? When you're thinking about composition and putting something together, and you're thinking about a focal point, or you're thinking about, you know, where you want the interest to be, or something like that, right? You know, having a focal point when you're doing a piece of artwork, you want your focal point to be, you know, one of these 4 places, in my opinion. If you're doing something that's totally square, then you could have your focal point right in the center, but it's usually more important, unless you're doing like, if you're doing like a Zentangle or something that is very geometric or something, and it has to be very even all the sides. Otherwise, it's kind of nice just to put things off to the side. I'm going to cover up those dots a little bit. They look like they shouldn't be there. Anyway, so you can do a whole page of scribbles in just a few minutes. And then if you're planning on drawing every day, then you've done your page really quickly. But then you can go back and do something else. And this is what I do all the time when I'm, oh, there we go. So here's what I've done with the one page that I worked on, and I haven't quite finished it. So what I was doing is I was going back in and I was trying different types of techniques for each square. Now, one of the things I do like to do is I love to have a whole page of doodles and then just color one, render one in a color. Did I do that? I didn't do that. So sometimes I just do a whole page of scribbles and then one of them's colored. But in this case, I'm trying different things. I'm doing Zen Doodles. I did some brights. I did some darks, and I put a little unhappy face because I'm not very happy with it. I thought it looked kind of yucky, but that's okay. Then I just colored in my scribble over here. I'm doing some hatching here. This is, I called this one checkered flag. And then this is hot and cold, so warm and cold colors. I think I did the cold colors on the background and the warm colors in the doodle. And then this is pointillism, just little dots. And I haven't quite figured out what to do with the other 4, but you know, this is something, again, I'm not doing this in one sitting. I'm just doing this to, I've got my page of scribbles, and now I can go back and work into each. And as I come up with an idea, I can go back in and try out that idea on one of my scribbles. So just because I worked on this page today doesn't mean I can't go back and work on it some more. I mean, I guess I can do that all the way through my books. Sometimes if a page just isn't finished, there's no reason that I can't go back in and continue working on it and adding to it. Or, oh, I have an idea for this, right? And then you can try something new. So I don't know if did anybody make a template? No, I know Brenda didn't. She doesn't have a sketchbook. Anyway, so you can just make it out of cardboard or whatever, and then you just have it, and it's kind of fun to scribble with. So. Instant art, I think. Does anybody have any questions so far? Everybody's muted. Do I need to unmute people?
Possibly.
Possibly. Bill's coming back to help me. He was sitting next to me, but he found my chair is not very comfy, so he's moved over to the couch.
What's that say right there?
Ask to unmute. There we go. All right, how are you guys doing?
Oh, thanks.
You're just listening to me ramble on.
No, I'm
No.
watching you.
And you're watching me ramble on.
Mhm.
Well, that's
I
sort of
think
what it's going to be.
I've got a few notes.
Excellent.
Oh, very good.
Did you write them in the back of your sketchbook?
Yes, ma'am.
There you go.
Oh, look, I found something in the middle here.
In the middle of your sketchbook?
Yes.
Oh, it looks like a little painting.
Yeah, I've got the warm light on here, so it's,
It's hard to see.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Now, Elizabeth, you've got someone with you there tonight.
This is my granddaughter Chloe that
Hi,
we're
Chloe.
visiting. And we went out yesterday to buy new sketchbooks so we could do the class.
Yeah.
And this is what Chloe has done already, like since yesterday.
Excellent.
Oh, my
Look
goodness.
at her go.
She just draws and draws and draws and draws
That's
and draws
excellent.
and draws and draws.
Perfect.
There's more. But yeah, she's been very busy.
That's great. You know,
This is her doodle that she's just done, her scribble.
oh, very good.
She's so creative. She's just bursting with ideas all the time.
That's great. You know, sometimes when you're dealing with a page, and if you don't want to do a full page drawing, that's where having like in some of the places where I've drawn like squares to draw in, it just makes it a little bit, I can do one little drawing here and then it sort of fills up my page instead of just trying to conquer one whole page with one whole drawing. So having the little squares kind of helps me.
Maybe I'll see you later this evening.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, awesome. That's exciting. Okay. Love you.
Anyway, so I don't know if you want to go back in and work on some of these and give them a try and just play around. I'm going to show you really quickly what I have planned. I'm not coming up with too many new ones just because of Christmas and stuff like that. So I don't want to go too crazy with big projects. Next week, what I wanted to do is go into what's called Notan. And I don't know if you've seen this before. This is Notan.
Oh, wow.
So I will have a supply list. It's super simple. It's just paper and you're cutting, okay? And I'll explain the process about it next week and we can do these little Notan pieces. They're kind of fun, but they can also be very complex and a little bit mind bending, but yeah, it's called Notan. And I think that's what we'll look at next week. I don't think I've actually even taught it in any of my classes at this point. So you guys will be the first to try it because I felt like doing it in my classes when I had the kids there might be a little bit advanced for some of the kids. Because you need a little bit of time and you need to sort of think about what you're doing as you're doing it. So Notan next week. So you can do it with black paper or you can do it with colored paper, but I'll explain the process next week and you can even do it in your sketchbook if you wanted to do it there. So I'm sure I've got some in one of these books. I probably have some that I've done. Just finding it is the other thing. So anyway, so I'm just going to keep it short because I just feel like I'm like,
Oh, that's
but
good.
I just wanted to sort of show you the sketchbooks. This is how I do with them. And, you know, going forward, as we're doing these sessions, I'll give you lots of ideas of what you can put in your sketchbook. And maybe I've given you some already and you're like, oh my goodness. So, I was gonna show you something I got at work the other day, but I'll save it for another day. I'm kind of excited about it. Maybe I should. Can I show them? Can you go over there and underneath the snowflakes, there's those white things. So it's really funny. I've got a new framing manager in the frame shop, and he's a bit of an artist also. So it's kind of fun because now we're starting to talk about art together. And so as things, I'm such a scrounger, right? So as things are damaged, I've told the ladies who deal with the damages, if you have any containers, I need some containers for the frame shop to help us organize things. So she comes in yesterday and she's got this container, and I think it's like a little thing that you would put cookies or something that you want to have separated. It's like 4 little shelves or something in this little container, and then you can carry it. Anyway, it's damaged. So I'm like, great, I can use that container. So I grab the container, and then, so the little shelves are just garbage. No, they're not. I'm so excited. So when
stencils.
when I told him what I was doing with them, oh, that's a good idea. So I said, okay, well, you have 2 and I'll have 2. He says, yeah. He says, the problem is I get all this stuff and then I never do anything with it. I said, okay, well, you have until the end of January to show me something. So I've given him the challenge to do something with these, whether you're using it as a stencil or something like that. But yeah, isn't that cool?
Yeah, that is.
That's cool. So, and of course I have to have 2 of them. I can't just have one. I have to have 2. So anyway, that's my scrounge of the week. So I think, oh yeah. So you guys are saving toilet paper rolls.
How many?
How many?
I don't know.
With your project, you should.
What about wrapping paper rolls?
I think wrapping paper rolls would work too.
Okay.
So, yeah. So you can save
Because
that.
I've got a couple of those and I've got toilet paper rolls.
Perfect. Okay. So save those, and then you're going to start saving styrofoam sheets from takeout or
All right.
meat trays. Okay.
All right. I got to put a list up.
Yeah. You preferably need something that's nice and flat. Okay. So
Flat.
nice and flat styrofoam sheets.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
And then eventually we'll do that one. I better start writing notes about what I've asked you to scrounge so that I'll get you guys collecting a whole bunch of junk, and then I won't tell you what to do with it. Then you'll be just like me. So anyway, all right. So I guess that's it for tonight. And so you guys have a Merry Christmas. And
Thank you. You too.
I hope we get all our framing done by.
Hope so.
I'm not supposed to do this, but every once in a while I feel sorry for somebody who comes to the frame shop, and I had this couple come and they have this kind of painting that lights up, I guess, but it's in this frame that you just can't get it out without destroying the whole painting.
Right.
The frame is horrible. And I said, look, do you trust me? So I've brought their painting home and I'm painting their frame for them.
Oh my goodness.
Just because I have all the stuff to do it. It's like, why wouldn't I do that for them? So anyway, so it's on my project. I have to get it done by Christmas Eve. So painting their frame, and then I got to go back and I got to put the backing on with the lights and what am I doing? So anyway, so you guys have a Merry Christmas.
Yes.
And I will see you before the new year. We'll do the no tan, and then hopefully I'll have some ideas about where we're going this year with this. I'm very excited about these sessions. They seem to be, I'm really enjoying myself. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you are checking it out on YouTube, you can, there's a subscribe button there that will notify you if there's new videos, which we will put up every week as we do these. And if you know anybody who's interested, please send them along, because it'd be fun to have lots of new people. Right, Chloe? Excellent. Okay. Right. Well, you guys have a good night. I'm going to go and relax and do nothing for the rest of the night because I'm exhausted.
Yeah, sounds good.
Thank you, Karen.
Okay.
I appreciate all your great ideas.
Okay. Well, I'm having fun, guys. So thanks so much.
That's good.
Okay.
Bye for now.
See you later.
I know that.